We have another fun tutorial for you today. Today we're going to show you how to build a desert-themed building for your sci-fi gaming table. We're going to use our XPS foam board here, and Thomas has our steel ruler. He's going to be marking out some very simple geometric shapes that we're going to cut out using the scenery knife from the GameMaster core set. Because this is a sci-fi themed building, we are going to be making a lot of angular cuts throughout this tutorial. Using your steel ruler and a graphite pencil will help to keep the angled walls and lines matched up as you begin cutting out the walls for your building. Once you finish cutting out all of the pieces that you need to build this angular wall, we want to bevel the edge of one of these walls. That way we have a nice clean fit for the slanted and vaulted roof. It's very important to dry fit all of the pieces to make sure everything's lining up as you want it to. Now we're going to use some cocktail sticks. We're going to cut them in half. These are going to act as reinforcement beams for our walls of this sci-fi building. You'll want to apply no more than 2 of these to the top and bottom of the edges of your walls, like so. Once installed, you can apply glue to the edge of your wall. And then you can fasten them together. Careful to make sure that everything is lining up just as you want it to. You'll repeat this process along all of the walls of this building. This combination of the supporting cocktail sticks and the basing glue makes for a super strong and structurally sound building. Now Thomas is going to go ahead and cut out some external walls here. These make the building look super cool and super futuristic, but they also are extremely functional for your game because they act as additional line of sight blockers. In addition, you can apply some cool panels to your building like the doorway below or this armored panel that we're going to be adhering to the top. This is a really simple and fun way to just add more interest and depth to your piece of terrain. To help seal up those gaps, you can apply your Battlefield's basing glue or XPS foam glue to the gaps, and then with your finger just smooth them out. You're basically caulking in the gaps on your piece of terrain. Now it's time to give our desert and arid waste terrain primer a go. Head outside, give the can a good shake, and go ahead and apply a nice smooth coat all over your piece of terrain. When you're finished priming, go ahead and activate the nozzle until pigment stops emitting from it. It's a great way to keep that nozzle clean for future use. While the terrain primer does take care of most of the hard work for you, it is always good to add some additional color. And for this piece, we're going to be working in lots of layers. We're starting with Monster Brown from the Army Painter War Paints range. We're just going to work this into the corners and stipple this on the edges to give the building a really worn and weathered appearance. That's going to be the theme of the rest of this tutorial, using different colors to add multiple layers and really give it a nice worn appearance. Moving on, we'll use Demonic Yellow to help brighten up some of these areas, and we'll use this sparingly along the flat building walls. Then we'll use Skeleton Bone. Now we're going to apply this over top of the entire model, but in a very thin application. This is going to help unify everything together and also give a brighter base for some of the additional weathering and layers to stand off of. To give the appearance of paint chipping, Thomas has elected to use a sponge here in our Monster Brown. You could also achieve this look using a dry brush or Masterclass dry brush. You're going to apply this sporadically along the hard edges and exterior edges of this terrain feature. We always recommend, with all of these additional steps, starting small, apply a light application at first and build it up to the point that you want. It's much easier to add more paint to your model. It's a lot harder to take it away. Next, we're going to apply another layer, this time using Quick Shade Strong Tone. And we're just going to apply this in a blotchy fashion, stippling this on to the areas of interest that we want. We're really using this not as a wash to shade and shadow the model, we're using this to add layers of grit and grime. You can add really cool streaking effects using your washes like so. Apply it from the top of a hard corner and just drag it down and fade it into the flat wall. You can reinforce these grime streaks by applying a second layer once the first coat has dried. The final paint that we're going to use today is Dry Rust. This is from the War Paints Effects range. We're just going to thin this down a little bit, and we're going to apply it much the same fashion as we did the other colors. We're thinly applying this into the recesses, and we're also going to stipple this onto some areas just to add another dimension, another layer effect. Dry rust is a great paint for reinforcing those streaks, give it nice rusted streaks, and make this building look like it has really seen some better days. Once you've finished applying all of the paint to your model, give it a minute to dry and then go ahead and begin finishing it off with our battlefield's tufts. We're using scorched tuft, and this is the perfect tuft to accent any desert themed piece of terrain. We're just going to apply this in sporadic and random fashion across the base of this piece of terrain. And once it's applied, your desert themed building for your sci-fi war game is complete. We hope that you enjoyed all of the tips and tricks found inside of this tutorial. More than anything, we hope that you noticed just how fun it can be to build your own terrain with the GameMaster range of products from the Army Painter. This versatile range of products is perfect for building anything from dungeon tiles to wargaming terrain. Whether it's historical gaming, science fiction, or fantasy, GameMaster has something for you. Check it out at thearmypainter.com.